Hey, we're back with another episode, another Saturday Night Live version of Staying Up with Pat and Jodi. And that's us, Pat and Jodi.
Woo!
I'm Jodi. She's Pat.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat.
I don't know. We're one of us. She's the boss. That's all that matters.
I'm the boss. Tonight, I'm the boss.
You're the boss.
I'm not wearing crazy hair, and you can't see my roots. So,
Right.
But I do want to say today, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know it, it is International Hairdresser Day.
That's right. And none of the hairdressers are working.
And none of them are working. Although I did get a phone call from my hairdresser, Lauren, today, and I forgot to wish her a happy hairdresser day.
Oh.
So I know she's watching because we've got a very cult audience. We've got some weird people. Well, not that Lauren's weird and not that you're weird, whoever's watching us tonight, but we got a cult following. That's all I can say.
It's a very small cult, but so it's kind of a
cult.
Yeah, we could. It's really easy to have social distancing with our cult because there's not a lot of us.
Well, I don't know. I got some weird fan mail last week. Everybody wanted to know, who that crazy guy was that was making all the dirty jokes. Oh my God. So anyway, today is Hairdresser Day. Hug a hairdresser, okay? Make sure you hug your hairdresser. And we want to make sure that you are commenting tonight. This show is all about all of us. So we want you to comment, please. We want to feed off your energy. We have a bunch of people on the line right now because I'm watching it via Facebook. And so we feed off your energy. So please comment. We want to hear what's going on.
And let you know they're here.
We got to click comments. But
we have somebody else we got to bring on first before we go to the comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a special guest.
We have a very special guest today.
I got to say this, Pat. Let's say this. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest tonight. He's home just like all of us. He's stuck self-quarantining, but you guys love his music. You have all his records. You've probably seen his movies. And he's just the biggest megastar that Las Vegas has ever produced.
That's right.
So, Pat, without any further ado, I would like to bring on our special guest star tonight.
The King. Yay! And he's got the music in the background. We can hear it. Yes, we got to play it low so we don't get kicked off Facebook. Yes, Elvis is here, the king of rock and roll. He's on Staying Up with Pat and Jodi.
Hi, Jodi. Good to see you guys. Sight and sound. Always a pleasure to see you guys and hang with you guys and perform with you guys. And that's what Las Vegas is all about. So
we love it, man. We love having you. We have a great time. Every time we work with Elvis, we know it's going to be a great party.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, it's one of those things where people are like, I've had people say, well, you've worked with them so many, it doesn't get boring. It's like, no, I've never once worked with them and said, it was all right. It's always been, the energy level goes up. Everybody's having a great time. Cameras are pulled out. They're taking pictures. It always adds to the event. It always makes it fantastic, and that's what we love about it.
A large part of that, Pat, is it's an element of fun, and it coincides with the CEO of Fun, Jodi.
Woo! That's right. Yeah, you got that right. And this, by the way, this is your second time on Staying Up with Pat and Jodi.
That's right.
You did the show before in our studio, and now you're our special guest
on the quarantine screen.
Yeah.
How are things over there in the Casa de Elvis, Vegas? I know you're not in Graceland, so you're definitely in Vegas.
Yeah, we're known for the bright lights, big city, but the lights are a little dim these days. As you know, Strip is closed, as well as the country, as well as the world. So we're getting by and just doing the quarantine like everybody else. And hopefully this thing will get a boot in the butt and we'll get on with our lives.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
What does the king do in quarantine? Because you're so used to having to entertaining and making everybody smile and have a great time. What does the king do during quarantine?
Pat, it's funny you should ask. And you caught me just when I was ready to have my favorite snack. Now, a lot of folks know that this is, Elvis's favorite snack, peanut butter and bananas. And but there's a certain way you can make it. You can't just put it, the peanut butter is on a banana sandwich. The way that he made it, supposedly, was that you make it like a grilled cheese. And you mush the bananas so it has the same consistency as the peanut butter. And then you put it on the bread, and then you fry it, put some butter on the bread, and fry it up like a grilled cheese, and it all melts together. So.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You heard it here first. Right on that. Pat and Jodi.
Well, back when but when we get to a point where we can all congregate again, we're going to have to do like a cooking class on how to make a proper peanut butter and banana Elvis sandwich.
Yeah, it's funny because if I can, I'll tell a quick story of one of my favorite gigs that I did before I came out to Vegas was in New York. As you know, we're originally from New York. Hey, shout out to New York.
Or New York.
Yeah, so I had an event at the Roxy, which was in New York City, and right before it closed, they held a party for their employees, and it's like 3 different levels up, and there was all impersonators there. If you thought of the person, a celebrity, it was an impersonator there for it. Like, for instance, John Travolta, Kiss was there. I was there, and each performer had their own Polaroid photographer so that they could get the pictures right there on the spot. So they spared no expense. They had all kinds of food, lobster, shrimp, and everything. And they had me stationed at the front welcoming people as they came in. And they had one of those George Foreman sandwich makers. And then on the side, they had a bunch of peanut butter. And on one side was bananas. So the people were so intrigued after getting all this lobster and all this good stuff. They had to come back and try a peanut butter sandwich and bananas.
So they were making them in George Foreman grills?
Well, I was making them at the front table as I was welcoming them.
No, you were making them.
So yeah, they walked through the party. I greeted them, and then they came back for the peanut butter and banana sandwich. And by the end of the night, the stacks were gone.
That is awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah,
I've never had all the times that you and I have worked together, and I've never had a peanut butter and banana sandwich. We got to do that for sure.
Well, there was one event I think that you hosted, Jodi, that it was Elvis's birthday, I think maybe, and later we were talking about the peanut butter and banana sandwiches, and then it might have been at the Tropicana, and the cook came out with a platter with a peanut butter and banana sandwich. So.
Oh, that's yeah, okay, yeah, wow,
that's great.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, you always heard about it, but I never realized that that's how it was cooked. I guess I always envisioned in my head, I'm like, a peanut butter, but what does he put, like peanut butter and then just put the banana? I thought like a hot dog bun or something.
Exactly.
That makes more sense as a grill.
And it tastes great.
Oh, I bet.
Well, wait, I gotta be honest with you. We're losing weight over here. All our friends are like gaining weight during the quarantine, and Pat and I are dropping weight. We're just withering away. That's what being poor does. When you have no money, you can't eat shit.
In my sleep, it's like, you are hungry. You want a snack.
Yeah, right now.
I've been keeping busy with hiking and bicycling.
Awesome.
There's the gyms are closed naturally, and I always enjoyed biking and hiking stuff before the hot weather moves in naturally.
Yeah,
and swimming, but unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to happen this year. As we were just discussing that before, with the area pools and all. I don't know if they're going to be open. It's all kind of like hit and miss, and we're going to have to all play it by ear, I guess, and see how it goes. Once they do start, opening, it's going to be a slow process.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to be a little bit at a time. I think everybody thinks like, no, we can't open up, we can't go back. It's like, we're not going to just all of a sudden turn on the light switch and we're going to football games with 60,000 other people. That's not how it's going to work.
It's not going to be the Hangover movie. Like when this is all like over, I think people think that Vegas is going to go back to, the Hangover.
Bumper to bumper traffic, to hundreds of thousands of people walking around, and
it's not. It's going to be a different. I mean, you and I talked privately because you do a lot of ceremonies as well, and we talked privately about how the new chapel, how the chapel life is going to be now. All the guidelines that, we're going to have with chapel weddings, and you too, because that affects you. I mean, you do your Elvis vows and you walk people down the aisle at your chapel. And there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, one thing I right before this all went down, I said, this is gonna, because Elvis always walks the bride down the aisle, and I mentioned that that might have to stop and have to make a post like temporarily until further notice that as part of the social distancing that we do that. The other thing I noticed too, in what we do is we always take pictures with folks afterwards, the media portion of it. And when you're, taking a picture next to someone, you just automatically, like a handshake, you put your arm around the person and you pose. But it's like now you have to second think about everything. And one thing that my girlfriend had mentioned, which I thought was a really good idea, because we went down to the Vegas sign right on St. Patrick's Day, and it was right before the governor made the speech that everything was closed. So we've been wanting to go down there where they turned the sign green and St. Patrick's Day. So we finally got down there, and the folks naturally wanted to get pictures. So you take a picture, but she insisted that the folks stay like in front of us, so like a 3D shot. So you have the folks like say where my hand is, forward, and then you'll be in the background. You'll still be social distancing with them, but you're not having your arm around each other. So I thought that was a really good idea on her part.
And actually, there's some very creative poses you can do with staggering people, because I always do that when we do our selfies, because it's like, how do we get all these people in a selfie? And then you just stagger people like kind of off behind you. You can get some really cool looking shots by not having people, a little bit of forced perspective stuff, where you can actually have them staggered behind you and you're still plenty of distance. And it's even more of a creative shot than if you just were there with your arm around them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So there's a lot of cool shots you can do with that. So yeah, the mother of necessity, you have to be flexible, and sometimes you come up with stuff it's like, wow, that looks better than the stuff we were normally doing.
Yeah.
Right? Trial and error, and it just becomes so patterned after doing it for so long that you just kind of snap away when there's like so many. But it's just an additional thought process and a little more time to adhere to just being safe. And it's so easy to drop down the guard because it's this invisible thing that you still I speak for myself anyway, that you're trying to wrap your head around to think that this is really happening. And at least if it was something visible, you can kind of contend with it and believe it in your mind. But when you're just going out to the unknown and you don't see nothing there, no enemy, so to speak, it makes it more difficult to keep your guard up all the time.
It's kind of like, it's not like that, but remember that movie that was on Netflix with Sandra Bullock called The Bird Box?
I didn't see that one.
Did you see The Bird Box?
I didn't see it.
With Sandra Bullock? I mean, they all of a sudden some outbreak happened and they had to put blindfolds on. So they had to walk around with blindfolds.
But that was kind of a supernatural thing. This is more of this does feel like we're in a movie, though. I mean, we've talked about this multiple times. It's like
we talked about it today.
We talked about it today. So you think you're just going to wake up and you feel like you come out of a dream, because is this really all happening? It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi movie, a Twilight Zone, or even I was saying like I don't know if you remember Soylent Green, which was Charlton Heston from years ago in the 70s. I don't want to give away the storyline, but
don't worry. At this point, you don't have to worry about spoilers. If they,
Well, I know I didn't see which one.
Soylent Green is
I never saw that.
It's from the, I believe, early 70s, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing it driving in New York, actually, with my family, and it was so like one of the parts in the movie. It was futuristic, obviously sci-fi, where they were actually selling water. People were not able to obtain water.
Wow.
I remember as children, we were like, can you imagine if one day if they bottled water and it was unavailable, and then sure enough, we got the bottled water and people are buying it. You're going to have to buy water in the future. It just seems so like, really?
Oh, I know.
Well, let's face it. When we were all kids, when we were outside playing, we drank out of the damn hose. So.
That's right. we even had like a water fountain that hooked onto the hose.
Oh, really? Oh, you were fancy.
Wow.
We just took the hose and went.
Well, he lived in Long Island. Elvis is from the island.
Oh, wow. It's fancy.
Fancy.
Shout out.
I think we have William Smith. William Smith says, "I think we will wake up one day soon and realize we want our lives back and just go back to work."
Yeah, I mean,
viewers.
I think it's already starting to happen. I think the reality is that you can only keep people, hidden away for so long before, you have to start coming up with solutions to make it work. And because look, we're social creatures, man. We love human connection. We crave human connection. You can only be isolated so long before you go nuts.
If I may segue into that, I see this note that says on the screen, VGK Gal, hi Jodi. That would be my baby. Hi, baby.
Is that Priscilla?
My girl. She is VGK Gal, and you might see her at some of the Vegas Golden Knight games with the gold cowboy hat and
cool,
the light up sneakers and the gold jacket, which she all started. Thank you very much. And so we always, she always did it on her own, and then we kind of met along the way. I always did it too, as well, with the Vegas Knights for the first game and everything like that. And we just wanted to welcome the fans and friendly welcoming like Vegas. So that we were talking about that too. It's like we loved going to the Vegas Golden Knights games and just being a part of that VGK family and all the fans and that whole experience, which we just enjoyed immensely for the last 3 years because we had our first sports team ever here in Las Vegas. So it was an exciting time. But that in itself is like, that's going to be completely different when you talk about how things are going to move slowly and all. And I don't know. It's just not going to be the same. That concerts and stuff, but I don't know.
Well, look at the wedding business. I mean, look how that's going to change. I mean, we do, and we do weddings here in this town for 30 people.
Yeah.
Come on, you and I both done weddings. We've worked together. We've done 20 people.
The wedding capital of the world, as you know.
Yeah. So I mean, and it was funny because everybody talked about how 2020 is the year. 2020.
It was starting off good.
A new decade.
This reminds me of all of us on New Year's Eve 1999, except nothing happened. But remember New Year's Eve 1999? Y2K.
We're waiting for planes to fall out of the sky.
Oh my God. But at least we were prepared for Y2K, but we weren't prepared for this. I don't even remember. Was toilet paper? Did we run out of toilet paper in 1999?
Apparently, people didn't think it was that important.
Oh my God.
They didn't think it was. They didn't need to stock up on 480 rolls of toilet paper for a family of 3.
I did a post last night. I went to Walmart last night, and because I heard that they had toilet paper.
Did they?
And, I mean, I wasn't greedy. Well, last time around, I went to Target. I found a 24-pack, and that's been lasting me pretty darn good. So, not to get on that topic, but then I heard last night. So it was the first time ever since all this happened that I actually saw toilet paper available in the store, and I got a 12-pack last night. I got only one. I wasn't greedy, but they're starting to come around. My girlfriend got one in Sam's Club as well. They had 2 different types there. So I says, here I am on a Friday night in Las Vegas at Walmart, and I never thought I'd be so excited, all shook up, if you will, that I found toilet paper.
Oh, by the way, you have to do your best Elvis voice and say hello to Mary Liz.
Mary Liz?
Mary Liz, yeah.
Well, hello, Mary Liz. Goodbye. Hello, Mary Liz. Where's Mary Liz from?
Mary Liz is from Yonkers.
Yonkers, New York. Yeah.
Woo! Go New York.
Jodi and Mary Liz have known each other since high school.
High school.
On that day of the year.
Thank God Mary Liz is watching the show on Jodi Harris, my Instagram, my Facebook page, and not watching it on the Staying Up with Pat and Jodi page. Because if Mary Liz watches it on the Staying Up with Pat and Jodi page, she might be able to type in what year we graduated high school.
And then
she would be in a lot of trouble. By the way, she just put a smiley face and said LOL because we shouted out to her. Because remember, in New York, it's almost midnight. We're on at midnight. That's why we're staying up.
It's midnight.
That's right. Oh, you got to show us the cup too. You got to put the cup up for us.
Hold the cup up.
Hold the cup up. We got to see that. Look at that. That is a cool cup.
It's got the other side too.
Oh, look. Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much.
Very cool.
So
Great box. No, just kidding.
So since we're all together, why don't you tell us and our audience about if the strangest fan interaction you've ever had? Do you have a story about like the wildest fan interaction? Because you walk around all the time. I know when we do events, you wear the trench coat and stuff, but any weird, wild fan stories?
Yeah, there's always one that pops in my mind when people say, you know, you've done so many different venues and stuff like that. What is the most bizarre? And I think about a wedding ceremony years ago where typically, you know, the bride and groom exchange wedding rings and such. And but this particular couple decided to do their own thing where they exchanged a collar and a leash. So, I thought that was but then the other thing was I got a call from a funeral to do a funeral here in Las Vegas, and it was down by the I forget which place it was, but it was right across from Cashman Field.
Oh yeah, like bunkers or yeah, I think it's bunkers. Yeah.
You know, we want you to do Elvis's gospel music, but there's one in particular that Elvis never recorded, but he sang in church as a young boy, which was "I'll fly away, sweet glory, I'll fly away." So I had to research and look back on the documentaries about him, and then learn the song and then go do it a cappella because I didn't have the music for it naturally. So I did that, and then I think it was Amazing Grace, and it was. I says, well, do you want me to wear a suit and tie, you know, out of respect? And they said, no, we want the jumpsuit, you know. So naturally I wore the black jumpsuit out of respect. And afterwards I said to the person who called me, I said, you know, was the deceased a big Elvis fan or anything? No, we just figured it's Vegas, you know.
Oh my
And that was nonchalant. He was.
We just figured it was Vegas. Oh my God.
That was probably.
You're going to tell me this person was an Elvis fan.
That's what I wanted. Oh, huge Elvis fan.
Oh
it was in
God.
the will. I want to have Elvis at my funeral. Yeah, Vegas.
I know.
We have a fan request right now. It says, King, can you sing us a gospel hymn on the show? You got anything like that available?
I will look into the library here and see.
Yeah, he's great, by the way. And that was from William or Billy. Billy
Smith.
Billy. He's a lieutenant colonel, former lieutenant colonel in the Army.
In the Army. Thank you, sir, for your service. We really appreciate always appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I may, I can't really find on the short notice the gospel music. It's much out of it, but in your honor, sir, may I do a little bit of American Trilogy?
Yeah.
Why don't you do that?
Is that cool with Billy?
Yeah, it's cool. Billy and I have known each other for years.
Oh, you know Billy? Yeah.
Yep.
Where's Billy from?
He's in Texas right now.
Texas.
Yep.
Texas.
He's retired, by the way. He said thank you, and he's retired.
In the land of cotton, old times they are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away. Dixieland. Sing it for me. I wish I was in Dixie. So you, Billy, I thank you for your service, Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
All right. Okay. It's a long song.
The king doesn't have his band tonight.
It doesn't have the band with him.
The band's not with him tonight. He said thank you. He said he was fired, and he said that was very cool. He said it was awesome. He said it was very cool.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
So
it.
he's actually watching it on my page. If he was on our Staying Up with Pat and Jodi page, we could post his comment up. But so
okay, but I am going to post up. If you look, you can probably see on your screen now. VGK gal, she's bringing up another story. What about the two girls that mauled you at the Hard Rock? while I was in the ladies' room. Now, hopefully, I mean that she was in the ladies' room.
Again, VGK, yeah.
I love it.
Well,
She's
that was
watching
a
us
good opportunity to mention that when the Hard Rock closed here in Las Vegas, which was prior just to in February, it was, maybe they had a premonition that everything was going to close, and they jumped ship before everybody. So we went to the last closing ceremony of the weekend at the Hard Rock, and she had gone into the restroom, my girl, and all of a sudden she comes out, and there was two girls, on each arm, and they were just like taking pictures. But that's what I'm talking about with the social distancing, because after a couple of drinks and everything, and everybody wants to, take a picture with everybody. It doesn't matter who you are and stuff. Everybody's into the pictures now, and it's gotten so. Well, obviously you got to fit into the frame, so you got to get close, and so it's gonna be very, very, very different. So
yeah.
Everybody wants to hug Elvis when he's there, right?
Well, yeah, they didn't maul me.
Yeah. Well, no, you see, when we do our weddings and our corporates, think about that now. How is your meet and greet business going to change? You do a ton of corporate. Yeah. You're out there hustling the corporate circuit. That's all meet and greet. You, the showgirls, our showgirls,
Well, we've done a lot of convention and corporate events together as well, Jodi, and as you know, it snowballs once you start taking a picture with one person, and you want to accommodate everybody. Naturally, I don't leave an event until I get a picture with everybody that wants a picture. It's just, that's the way it goes. But it's kind of, I don't know. I have to put some thought into that to figure out maybe a sequin tape measure or something.
I guess you're going to have a lot of sanitizer. Just don't, or spray yourself with Lysol.
Yeah.
Just don't drink it.
Oh, man. Don't be cruel, man.
Don't be cruel. So out of all the, how long have you actually been at Elvis? How many years have you been doing this?
I've been doing it since I was like 10 years old. I was a big fan since I was 7 years old. And I remember watching cartoons, and a commercial came on for one of his records. And I just was like, whoa, look at this guy. Everything, his outfit, his voice, everything about him. I was just hooked immediately. And my Aunt Janet got me my first Elvis record. And I just started learning all the songs just as, looking up to somebody. And I never thought later in life I'd be so fortunate to be able to portray him. Although that's what I kind of wish for. You emulate your idols. So you want to be able to, and I just want to be able to sing like Elvis. And
was there an influence from your listening with your parents or aunts and uncles, or was this something you found all on your own? Was this just all you?
Well, he said he saw a commercial.
Well,
yeah, it's a good question, because my father and stuff, my uncle Ed, would always listen to the old country records. They'd always have them on the 45s. My mom liked Dolly Parton. She was actually in the Sweet Adelines in New York chapter. She performed at the Waldorf Astoria in New York and all. So there was music always in the family, but no one in my family, liked Elvis. Not that they didn't like Elvis, but they just weren't big Elvis fans, except for my aunt, who got me my first record. So she actually saw Elvis at Madison Square Garden in 1972, and she was in the front row and got one of his scarves.
Oh, wow.
So when she heard her nephew was interested in Elvis, naturally she was loved to go out and get the record. But then in fourth grade, in our gym class, Mr. Daniela, our gym teacher, would always play records to dodgeball. And whenever Elvis came on, I'd always, kind of mimic that, and my friends would be like, do the Elvis.
Dodgeball. Wow.
Dodgeball.
No Patches O'Houlihan, huh? Right.
In sixth grade, my teacher, Mrs. Manjali, always had a show that she produced with her class called A Night in Lost Vegas. And she'd always be famous for the yardstick. She'd give a whack to keep the kids in line. And then it would be by Yardstick Productions. So you get to pick your favorite performer. So I had my hands up, and I'm like hoping that nobody else picks Elvis. So I got Elvis. My mom made me my first jumpsuit. She's tired of hearing the song, but she laid me down on this piece of fabric, this light blue, and she, I had pins all up in me and stuff. And then, at that time I didn't have sideburns actually, so she kind of teased my hair up and the sideburns and everything like that. But then the PTA stepped in because they thought the suit was too tight and revealing. So I had to wear a guitar in front, So it was almost like when Elvis got on Ed Sullivan and he got filmed from waist up. It was like
I was about to say that. You got Ed Sullivan.
No,
You got Ed Sullivan, and you were just a kid.
Yeah, I was just, but then the following year is when he passed away, and then I went back to my school to ask the principal, Mr. Passato, if I could do a full show of, because I cried my eyes out the day he died, and I just wanted to go down there and pay my respects to Memphis, but I was too young. So I'm thinking, and I came up with this idea in my head to do a whole show. So my classmates, Brian Gallagher and Kevin O'Friel, that I had worked with in the 6th grade class show, Kevin did Chubby Checker and Brian did Harry Belafonte.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
that kind of gave me the performing bug because it was really well received, and I still got it on cassette tape, audio cassette, where the girls started screaming, even at like it was elementary school, and the girls were screaming. I'm like, oh my god, they liked it,
Wow.
When I wanted to sing like Elvis, and my oldest brother told me, if you want to sound like somebody, develop your own voice first. So then when I went into high school, I went into the chorus. We had a 200 voice a cappella choir, which was very well received around the state of New York. And we sang in St. Patrick's Cathedral, and we sang a lot of different things. And then I got into the opera, and I went away to got a scholarship to a musical conservatory for opera and classical music.
Wow.
And my voice teacher at the school was saying, don't forget about Elvis, forget about Elvis. We're going to have you on the Metropolitan Opera and Juilliard and all. And I says, don't say, how could you say forget about Elvis? It's sacrilege, But everything I learned from the music, I put it towards the Elvis, because I got used to moving around, and the opera was so rigid. I mean, you had to think about so many different things with your diaphragm and the way you positioned yourself and stuff like that. So with the Elvis, you feel the music, and
Yeah.
that's what I liked most about it, was because you could see the music living through his body. I mean, Tom Jones is a lot the same thing. Me and my mom saw him when he came to MGM. She got me tickets for my birthday, and we were in the 3rd row, and it seemed like his voice was coming through his body, through his feet and out, So there's just, as you know, like few performers that just have it all that really just work that way. So I just so admired him. And then as I learned more about him as a human being, he was just such a generous guy that gave away Cadillacs, and he knew what it was like to be poor. So he just, it didn't change him. It didn't change him at all. He didn't like start eating caviar, and he stuck to his mashed potatoes and gravy, and maybe not.
Well, what I understand too, one of the they talked about the value of signed autographed images or different things from different celebrities, and how Elvis's are worth less than a certain celebrities, but not because of his popularity, just because he signed everything.
So my mother has a black and white picture of Elvis in the Army, because somebody my mom knew in Yonkers was in the Army the same time Elvis was, and took a picture of him, and then Elvis signed it to her. So we have a signed black and white picture of Elvis in the Army. I don't have it. My mom has it.
My Uncle Al.
It's got to be worth money.
My Uncle Al was stationed with him in Germany in the Army, and he told me stories and stuff. And then you hear a lot of these stories, but you're absolutely right. His generous nature, he would stay and sign every autograph until there was nobody else. I mean, he wouldn't be like, okay, I got to go. He would just do everything because he knew how.
Yeah, and that's where there's a lot of celebrities that never sign autographs. So if you get an autographed anything from one of those celebrities, it's a lot that's worth a lot, because there isn't much floating around, where Elvis was a much more generous person. And we've heard that story over and over again, that he, if they were fans, he was signing and he was always interacting with them.
Unlike some other celebrities.
Yeah.
It also holds true to the merchandise, because as an Elvis fan, I would get like doubles and triplicates of like different things like Elvis clocks or that type of merchandise. So when you go to like a pawn shop or you think something, there's doubles, triplicates. There's so much of it. So I think that holds true with Elvis, probably, and the Beatles as well, because. Although it's a little different case with the Beatles because there was 4 of them. So
yeah. Well, there's only 2 of them now.
Yeah.
But
peace and love.
Peace and love. But when I was in Memphis, I actually went to Graceland a few years ago, and I wanted to take home Elvis salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah.
And I could not find Elvis salt and pepper shakers. I finally found it, but what I was looking for was skinny Elvis as pepper and fat Elvis as the salt.
Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere.
Oh no,
wait.
He's got Elvis salt and pepper shakers.
He's gonna bring it back.
Oh my God, he's coming right back.
He's coming right back. Let's see.
So,
Let's see.
My mom got me these. They are blue suede shoes.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
All right. And then I found these. It's a little magnet. And it's.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that cool? Oops.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it.
Like a little kiss.
Oh, that's an Elvis.
I found these at the Hacienda, which is down by Lake Mead, which is now the Hoover Dam Lodge.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that was one of my favorite getaways, was the Hacienda. I was so disappointed when they Dottie's Casino bought the rights. But that's where I found these. I said, what a find that was.
Wow, I've never seen those before.
Well, we did find an Elvis salt and pepper shaker. Remember, I have it. It's in the cabinet. I think the guitar is one thing, and then he's the other piece.
Yeah.
And I got that. I didn't get it at Graceland. I got it on a shop on, what's the street? Is it Beale Street? What's the street in Memphis that everybody?
Mm-hmm. Beale Street, home of the rhythm and blues. Where was, I think, also on Sun Records. Recorded.
Yeah, we did the whole thing. It's amazing.
I got a chance to see Elvis live too when I was 10 years old.
Oh wow!
1975, and he was at Nassau Coliseum in Ireland. And my mom once again got me tickets because she knew how important. The first show was sold out, and then they added another one. She got tickets, so me, her, and my brother went. And if I could just bottle that feeling up, it was like I haven't felt it since. It was like you had like anticipation of royalty coming out on the stage, and the anticipation of waiting to see Elvis. It was like, and then all of a sudden the lights went down, and then and all of a sudden there he was on stage. Everybody just freaked out. It was like, oh my! It was like, royalty walked on stage. Well, it did, but I've never seen any excitement like that since. It was just
not even for when Ric Flair comes out.
Woo! And I gotta say, Jodi, we went. Me, you, and Pat went to the Area 51's game a while back, and we were sitting right behind home plate. And you and I started doing the woo woo. It was not so popular as it is today. And then when the Vegas Golden Knights started, they started doing it. So I think we might have started that.
We might have started a trend. Woo!
And it's so easy to do too. It's not like some complicated chant. It's just woo.
My favorite wrestler, styling and profiling, limousine.
Right.
Scene stealing, kiss stealing, scene stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun.
That's right.
Jet flying, limousine riding.
Beat the man, you got to be the man.
That's right. You go woo. And see, because his daughter got a tattoo, I got mine.
And his daughter is the champ as well. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you can see.
I got mine.
And it's behind us too. Well, it's right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the word. But believe it took the longest, but hers says a little patience. Mine says believe. So, and more than ever, we need to believe right now, because this is crazy. Pat and I were just talking about the movie Groundhog Day, because there was a tweet on Twitter that this is
you
like,
can use that as an example of how, because have you seen Groundhog Day? Have you seen the movie?
Absolutely.
So
I haven't seen it yet.
and she
I'm gonna
hasn't
watch
seen
it
it.
tonight.
And they go over the same day so many times, and it goes through him, going crazy, and then figuring out how to rob a bank, and then trying to kill himself, and then all of a sudden he realizes, I'm going to start taking piano lessons, and I'm going to start learning about Andy McDowell, this just all these things, and at the end he finally grows as a person. He comes out of this monotony and grows as a person and creates all these new talents, and that's when his loop finally ends.
Yeah.
So it's like that. You can apply some of that, learning new skills, becoming a better person. Not everybody's doing that. And
No.
if you're on Facebook,
Sure, and that's a really good point that you make, because, as bad as all this is right now, I think the world just needed a timeout, because we're always so fast-paced and running to do this and running to do that. And this actually gave us a little time to, like you said, Pat, just to realize what's important. Like in the movie Groundhog Day, it took them so many times to go over it and get it right, that there is a little time of reflection here. So it is horrible. It's a horrible instance we're going through, but try to think about the positive stuff that will make us better, and and thank God for, stuff like this, staying up with Pat and Jodi, where we are confined and quarantined, and we have something like this where in technology, this is the first time I'm doing this through the computer, and
Yeah.
instead of coming into the studio, it probably will change the way everything kind of goes like this, and now people are working at home and stuff. But
Absolutely. So many shows that we're watching now are all doing this. Even wrestling, they're wrestling in empty arenas or empty performance center, and they're doing their shows like we're doing ours right now. So it's crazy.
Well, newscasters are staying home, even local newscasters. You'll have two out of three of them that are in the studio, but the one of them's broadcasting from home. National newscasters are doing the same thing.
And how nice. Do you watch Channel 3?
I watch all the news when I get a chance.
What's the name of the guy, Jim Schneider? Or who's the guy that's on at 11 o'clock during the week? He has a beautiful home.
Yeah, his house is nice.
God. The guy on Channel 3, the local.
He gets paid well, obviously.
Oh my God. At 5 o'clock, he closes the glass doors. And then at 11 o'clock, he opens them, and he's got beautiful furniture out there.
Great view.
Oh
it's like,
God.
Okay, wow. Maybe I should have been a newscaster.
Exactly.
Kevin Janis in the News 3 as well. He's always at the VGK games. And we had a watch party at Red Rock one time, and he wound up jumping into one of the pools. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah, we've worked with him a few times at some of the events when we used to do the cactus tree lighting. We worked with him. Super nice guy.
Yeah, FLM's very nice.
Yeah. But I think what I'm going to want to learn is Spanish. I think I'm going to learn Spanish. So when we do our Wednesday night staying up with Pat and Jodi, I could rattle a few things off in Spanish. How about that? Sí.
Gracias. Mucho
La comida está lista. The food is ready. So I do this party a few years ago. It was for a roofing company. It was a holiday party, and they were all Spanish, and they had me as the DJ MC too, DJ MC, and nobody understood a word of English. And I'm trying to tell them that the dinner, we're ready to eat. It's time the buffet is open. So I noticed that, one of the waiters that I'm friendly with is Spanish. So I said to him, dude, how do I tell these people that it's time to eat? And so he said, you have to say this phrase, la comida está lista. I'm like, okay. So that's what I did. I knew a little Spanish from Alberto Del Rio. Buenos noches, damas y caballeros. And then I said, la comida está lista. And they all went, yeah. And then they were talking to me in Spanish all night. And I just said, no say.
It'd be funny if you were saying to them, food fight.
Yeah.
One time I did a wedding, and I tried to say, who let the dogs out? And this lady, this is a true story. So this woman, the groom's mother, was just miserable. I don't know what happened to her, but she just wouldn't smile. Just sad, just a very sad woman, just sad. So I remembered how to say, who let the dogs out in Spanish. And it's oh God, now how do I say it again?
¿Quién
¿Quién dejó
los
perros
afuera?
afuera? Well, I said it wrong.
She said pelos.
Pelos. I said pelos. ¿Quién dejó los pelos afuera? I said, who let my hair out? And the woman went nuts. She couldn't stop laughing. Every time she looked at me, she must have peed her pants. Seriously? I think they had to go get it Depends or something.
Yeah.
He said to me, I'm like, oh my God. And everybody started laughing. And he said to me, thank you. And I said, for what? He goes, my mother. I go, I'm so sorry. Did I offend her? He goes, offend her? She hasn't laughed like this in years. She said she just had a break. I got like a $300 tip that night because this woman was like, they had a breakthrough. So yeah, I think I might learn Spanish. I should learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Now that
I should learn Spanish too, considering I was born in Puerto Rico. You know, my mom speaks English with a very heavy Spanish accent, but you know, maybe she could be our
we could talk to her
teacher
in Spanish. No, we can just go online. You go on.
The problem
YouTube,
is with Puerto Ricans. I will tell you
everything.
this. I will tell you this. The problem with Puerto Ricans is they speak Spanish at a rate 3,000 to 4,000 times faster than we speak English. And I had my mom basically say that she asked me once when we were in Puerto Rico, and one of the guys had come up and said something to me, and she said, did you understand what he said? I'm like, Mom, if he was speaking English, I wouldn't have understood what he said. Because it's like they just rattle stuff off. And the thing is, everything else in Puerto Rico is like Hawaii. It's chill. Hey, except for when they talk. It's like.
But every relative that I met at Pat's family, every relative has said, ¿Quién dejó los perros afuera? ¿Quién?
They started laughing.
They thought I was a nut. They thought I was. It didn't matter who it was. I just went, ¿Quién dejó los perros afuera? ¿Quién? They were like,
she was saying it the whole one trip we went to Puerto Rico. She was saying it the whole time because she got a laugh every time.
I just said it.
She got a laugh.
Strangers, people. I just go, ¿Quién dejó los perros afuera? Yes, your woman thinks I'm a hooch.
That's right.
I am. You should see me when I'm not quarantined. Woo!
Woo! And hey, look, we got Iris with us now.
Iris is here. Whoa!
We're shaking, Iris.
Iris is here. Say hi to Iris.
We're shaking, Iris. Good to see
you. Know what's funny? Iris is a photographer, and her name is Iris.
That's right. That's
Iris.
Did you change your name to Iris?
You happen to see
if that name was Aperture, then I would say okay.
Iris Aperture.
Iris Aperture. Hi, my name is Iris Aperture.
Oh my gosh.
Did you happen to see
Oh, she said hi, Elvis.
Oh, we're shaking. Good to see you.
I think you should sing a song for Iris. You got something.
Let's see here. What do we got here? How about we do one in honor of this crazy COVID thing that
okay.
And it's called something like this. Return to sender. Return to sender. I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack. Bright and early next morning, they brought my letter back. She wrote upon it. Return to sender. Address unknown. No such number. No such zone.
I feel like if you break into Hound Dog and you start gyrating.
I can't stop my leg.
Woo! This is awesome. This is so much fun tonight. No one can say we're angry tonight.
That's right.
It is a Saturday night here in Las Vegas, and we're up staying with Pat and Jodi, and how cool. I thought that possibly the country was going to try to open by my birthday, and which is May 5th. So unfortunately.
That's great.
Well, you never know. I mean, hey, listen, the Marriage License Bureau is opening.
On Monday, that's right.
On Monday, yeah.
And by the way, Mary Liz loved the song.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, she gave you applause. I'll put that back up. She gave you 3
Look,
applause.
I don't know if you can see it yet, but give it a minute.
Thank you very much. I see it.
And Iris said she wasn't born with the name.
She was born with the name.
Yeah, she was. No, I was born with it. Yeah. Yep, she was born with the name Iris. She's a photographer and her name is Iris. I love it.
There you go. That's confirmation. It's not just coming from us.
Yep, that's what Iris said. So there you go. Oh my gosh.
See, now this is fun. You know, we're used to being out and entertaining and working on a Saturday night. So what better thing to do than to hang out with each other for a little while and try to entertain other people? And the good thing is this will be up for on both sites for a while, so people can watch it whenever.
Yeah. So yeah, because she said Destiny. It was her Iris's name. Iris was her destiny.
That's right. It was her destiny.
And she's a damn good photographer. So if anybody needs a photographer, contact Iris. Yep. She's awesome. You haven't met her. Oh, Jeff, you might have met her. You might have met her through. She's on my board with the wedding chamber. So she does all our events. Actually, she's our event chair. So
she took one picture of me. No, just kidding.
She's awesome. I wonder if she's done any quarantine. Have you seen those quarantine shots that photographers are doing? The porch photography.
Well,
that's pretty cool.
We were talking before, and or in what you're saying about now, as far as like hanging together and stuff like that. I was looking so forward to this when you guys asked me to, because I haven't adorned the suit in a while, and I get with the performing and the singing, I get so antsy that it was before Easter that I just wore like a red, white, blue cowboy hat, and I just had a jam session in my living room, and I just posted it on my Facebook page because I needed to. It's always been an outlet for me to emotionally pour out in singing, not just singing and doing the whole thing. It's an emotional experience, So it really, really felt good. I was like, oh my God, did I need that? So. This as well is just because, like you said, we're used to going. I mean, in our business, we don't hang out on the weekends. We work. Yeah.
Everybody else is just sitting back by.
Yeah, they go out to Olive Gardens and go to the movie. Well, they go to the movies and Olive Gardens and
whatever.
We're working on Saturday nights, and you, Jeff. I mean, you can bounce around to. I mean, how many events have you done on a Saturday night? Like, what's your record?
I don't know, but I think probably the best, most craziest it's been probably for you guys too was 2007. We shattered the record books here for the number of weddings. Everybody want to get 777. Get married.
That was a big day for us.
Yeah.
Picture hanging here on the wall, on the front page of the LA Times. And
oh wow!
Oh, that's great.
Graceland wedding.
Hold it up.
And oops.
Oh wow! Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Right next to 150 Iraqis fared dead. So they got a positive next to that. That's great, though.
That's awesome. What an honor. That's pretty cool. Where were you?
We did weddings. I did 30 weddings straight every. It was just, we went to like 4:30 in the morning. I started, we all had shifts, and I started 11:30 at night the night before and went to like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I had like 3 of my own events the following day. So, I mean, I was dog tired when I woke up, and I went to 7-Eleven for a cup of coffee, and I was just dragging my feet, like exhausted, and I looked down. And what do I see? But my picture on the front page of LA Times.
That's awesome.
That was better than a cup of coffee, I tell you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh yeah.
That's a bit of slow news day in LA.
Yeah.
But,
that's awesome.
Hey, but you got it. And that's the thing. You got to put that away and, like you said, put it in a frame. That's a great way to, kind of, because we all get just beat up and tired, and it's always that one little thing that just can spark us back up again.
Exactly.
We've all done crazy shifts. I think my longest is 36 hours.
Really?
That's what the video, doing the videos.
Oh yeah. I've done a couple of those. I think the most parties I've ever done in a day have been 4. I think I've bounced to 4 events and DJ'd every one of them at some point.
Yeah.
Like had something. I mean, I physically couldn't DJ 4 parties, but like I started at one and then went to visited a second one and visited another one and DJ'd the last one. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's so sad now to go down Las Vegas Boulevard and see it all dark and remember when, you know, I would have a wedding at like Caesars, but I have to run over to Flamingo to say hello to a couple, you know, who I said I would stop by, and my DJ would be playing their dinner hour. You know, it's just surreal. It's just surreal to see our town.
Even the volcano and the waterfall at Mirage is not even flowing. I mean,
yeah, the Mirage is dark.
The Mirage when we went was dark.
We got footage of the Strip because we're actually using some footage of the darker casinos for some videos to, you know, kind of, but believe it or not, they're going to be positive. It's to show this is what's happening now, but
I have a concept idea.
Yeah, that everything is going to, you know, will come back to normal. And the idea is to get people excited about Las Vegas again and know that this is not a permanent thing, that Vegas will come back to life as it does. It may take a little while and it may be a little slow ramp up, which is fine. That'll make people, but people will feel safer to come back. Right. And we talked about this too. One thing about Las Vegas, more so than probably anywhere else in the world, they're going to do everything in their power to make it the safest possible environment they can make it. Wynn has already come out with these amazing plans on how they're going to reopen and how they're going to be disinfecting rooms and all the hand sanitizers put out and the PPE that's going out to the staff and the thermal imagers so that they can see if somebody has got a flu, you know, temperature, like somebody's sick. All this technology and these processes that are being put in place is just incredible. And, you know, but it's Vegas and they have to do it because they have to make people make sure that they feel safe and are safe when they're here.
That's right. And I firmly believe that we are going to bounce back, and we're going to bounce back harder and stronger, almost like a $6 million man, better, stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be a slow process, like you said. It's not just going to be for everybody watching now, you know, that is interested in coming to Vegas pretty soon, or once this is all, you know, kind of back to business slowly. We will be here. I'll be here. Pat and Jodi will be here. Sight and Sound events. We will rock your world and make you entertained. But you have to keep in mind that it is going to be a slow process. Even though you're going to come here and have fun and do whatever it is you want to do, there's still going to be some things to adhere to. A lot of people come here and they just think there's no rules, and it's just a free for all. But you're gonna have to party responsibly.
Yeah, especially initially, they're going to have to do things to keep everybody safe. And so, yeah, but you're still going to be in Vegas. Maybe the machines are spread further apart. Maybe you got to take a few extra steps to make sure your hands are cleaned or sanitized, or that, you know, whatever it's going to be, you know, they're going to still have, Vegas is still going to be here, and they're going to make sure that experience comes back.
That's right. And we had the Thunderbirds. Did you see them? They flew over the Strip about a week or so ago.
No, we missed it that night.
I was working in the office and in the warehouse and completely forgot to go outside. I completely spaced out. After I thought about it, was like an hour after it happened. I'm like, oh crap, because I was in our office is close to the Strip. I'm like, I'll go run outside, and completely forgot.
There's a fabulous Thunderbirds.
Yeah. Right.
That each plane had like a big gigantic bottle of Lysol, and just like
then people would be trying to chase them because you can't find Lysol anywhere.
No, that's one thing you can't find, Lysol.
Lysol and hand sanitizer. I had to order hand sanitizer online, and it took like 2 weeks to get it, but I got it.
All these things we went to, corporate events and stuff, you know, and they would always hand out those little bottles with the
yes.
At the time, I was like, okay, well, thank you. And now it's like worth its weight in gold, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I right before everything happened and we were looking for hand sanitizer, I went through all my bags, my corporate bags of swag, and found like 3 bottles. And I'm like, yeah. Who would have ever thought, you know, who would have ever thought that hand sanitizer would be the gift, you know, the swag that we want. Mark is here. Mark Klatskin's online.
Hey, Mark Klatskin's
here. Say hello to Mark Klatskin.
We're shaking. Welcome to Staying Up with Pat and Jodi. Welcome to Las Vegas. And it's good to have you aboard. And thank you very much.
So before we wrap things up, because our show's about an hour, and everybody knows on Saturday nights we go to In-N-Out. It's almost time for In-N-Out for us.
Oh, there you go, protein style.
Okay, I got two protein style. I got two. I have two requests. So the first request from you is a positive message. What do you want to say to the people out there that might be feeling a little down? What would you? Iris said that she had a bunch of those hand sanitizers freebies. Iris, the photographer, also got those hand sanitizers. So, but what do you want to say to the people that might need a little pick me up? And then the second thing is, I want you to give us a song
to wrap it up.
All right, and I'll have to find your favorite. I know which one that is.
It's only my favorite if you dance. Woo! Woo!
Natural thing. I can't stop it. Sullivan, all I can move is my little finger like this. You ain't none of my
Okay, done.
Well, a positive message. It's kind of I'll try, but we're all in this together. So when I speak on behalf of myself too, and all of us involved, because we're all going through the same things. I mean, I've had loved ones and all that have had meltdowns, myself included. Let down my guard. Certain instances from just being habitual with. It's going to be a different way of life, and just hang in there. Concentrate on really the important elements of life. This is a time to reflect on really what everything's about, and remember the good things as opposed to the bad things or the things that you don't have right now. Concentrate on what you're blessed with. When we wake up tomorrow morning, the fact that we woke up, we're fortunate enough to be able to do that. And one of the things I think about in a positive statement was one of my favorite Elvis gospel songs when he says, "Why me, Lord?" It's a kind of catchy phrase because it's saying why, but that's not what it's about. It's why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve even one of the blessings I've known? So think of your blessings, pray. God is with us always, and He's going to help us through this. So we're going to be good. We're going to be rocking again.
Yeah.
We're going to be here when you guys are ready to come back to Vegas. We're going to be strong. We're going to be fun. And we're all going to party together because we need to. We've been through a lot, and we're going to party so hard when we're ready to. So get ready. Get in shape because we're going to need some stamina for the big party that's
right.
So
got to work out.
Yep.
Oh, I think, you know what I think? I think this New Year's Eve party, like New Year's Eve 2020, people are just going to be so excited to kiss 2020 goodbye. Like, we're going to have the biggest badass New Year's Eve party ever. Oh, man.
Thank you guys enough. It's always a pleasure seeing you guys, performing with you guys. And this, I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to it and how much.
Thank you. Well, thank you for doing it. We were looking forward to having you on the show too. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. All right, so you're gonna end it. Are you gonna sing a song?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where did it go? I almost got a little verklempt.
All choked up.
I'm all choked up.
Don't be cruel.
All right, so there's so many Elvis songs and all, but this was always Jodi's favorite, so I have to get on it. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, ain't no friend of mine. Here we go, baby. You ain't never but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Woo!
You ain't never but a hound dog, cry all the time. There ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't know the mother hound.
Wow!
Woo!
You ain't know the mother hound. Round time. Man, ain't never gonna rap.
What?
1, 2, 3. Ain't no friend of mine.
That's how you end the show. That's how you end the show. Thank you, Jeff, so much.
Thank
Ladies and
you. This
gentlemen,
was
the
awesome.
one, the only, the king. Elvis is in the house.
We love you all.
See you guys on Wednesday night. Thank you so much for staying up with Pat and Jodi. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Please.
It is now.
Oh, and broadcast.